At the Gersten Pavilion. Our game today, LMU and USD. And hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with my partner, Brad Holland. And Brad, we start the second half of the conference season. This is the first weekend of the second half. And the powers that be continue to be the powers that be.
They do. I mean, St. Mary's and Gonzaga, they've definitely separated themselves. And then we've got middle of the pack teams, right? BYU, USD, Pacific, USF, who's had some good moments, and then the lower third. It's going to be really interesting, Barry, to see what plays out in these last 9 games of conference play.
I think so too, but when you talk about the West Coast Conference, you've got to start and sometimes end with St. Mary's and Gonzaga.
You do. I mean, they're the two teams that are built, right? Programmed that are built to win. And look how similar these statistics are of these two teams. Gonzaga doing their usual scoring and their rebound margin. And St. Mary's, they're leading the nation, the entire country, in field goal percentage at 52.5%. So they're playing some solid D2, Barry, as well as being efficient on offense.
And they both have what every coach really wants, and that is senior leadership.
They do. I mean, you got Josh Perkins, who's doing a good job right there as a point guard, scoring from 3 inside. And then you got the senior Jonathan Williams, who does some work on the inside and was a prospective player of the year in the conference. There he is right there making the nice post move. So you got to have a couple guys, Barry, on your team that you can go to that are productive offensively.
And, of course, for St. Mary's, they can do it outside, they can do it inside. They're the whole package.
They are. And you got Jock Landale, right, who's leading the conference in 3 major categories: scoring, rebounding, and field goal percentage. And then the great point guard, Emmett Nahr, who leads the country in assists and doing it, you know, with his ball handling and getting the players the right target at the right time, making it happen offensively.
Yeah, and a really quiet guy. What I really like about Emmett Nahr, if you need him to score, he'll score. If you need him to give it up, he'll give it up.
Isn't that nice? I mean, against USD, Jock Landale was struggling from the field. He was 6 for 13. Emmett Nahr says, okay, but I can score. He had 24 in that game against USD, which made the difference in that win.
That's what I like about that team, and I think they're well coached. Both those teams are well coached. In fact, I think that could be said up and down the West Coast Conference. So let's talk about the people in the middle of the pack here trying to position themselves to maybe make a run in the tournament.
Yeah, we're talking about BYU, and we're talking about Pacific and USD. And the University of San Francisco. All 4 teams have had some very nice moments in the first half of conference play, some good wins. So what they need to do now, Barry, in this second half is they need to get some momentum and build through some wins so that they can what? They can compete in the conference tournament, make a run, and try to be that 3rd team that could make it in the NC2A tournament for the WCC.
And you look at BYU, and this is a pretty darn good team this year, but this may be a team for tomorrow.
Again, we talked about you got to have that tandem, right? Elijah Bryant right there, junior point guard for BYU, and then the sophomore, and that sophomore class is great. Yoli Childs leads them, TJ Haas. They have some really good players coming up.
Let's talk about Pacific. Damon Stoudemire, his 2nd year, starting to make a little noise.
They are. They've had some nice wins, including beating BYU. So they had a nice stretch of home games. Now they got some road games. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in the second half.
And, of course, your old team and the team we're going to be watching today, San Diego, started out great. They've hit kind of a leveling point right now.
They've had some good transfers come in and help, but they've done it on the defensive end and still lead the conference in 3 major categories defensively. That's USD.
We talk about senior leadership, and then when we look at the bottom of the West Coast Conference, they don't have that luxury. They got a lot of young kids, but you think these 3 teams are teams that are just around the corner.
Yeah, sometimes you got to live and die with young players, and that's what's happening with Portland, LMU, and the Waves. But the future's bright because these young players are getting a lot of quality time. They're kind of earning their stripes and getting experience through, might be losing, but they're getting that quality time, and that's going to bode well for the future in these programs.
What a confidence-building win, though, for the Pepperdine Waves the other night.
Incredible finish. Mike Nutlap did what exactly I do, and that's foul. They were up 3, but it missed perfect like Kobe Ross out to Trey Burhal for the game winner. Look how that perfect miss, and it just goes right to Burhal, and he sticks it all net to give Pepperdine their first win in conference. Has to be a huge relief for the Waves and Marty Wilson.
Did you ever think as a coach you'd hear yourself referred to the perfect miss? I knew you as a shooter. There wasn't a perfect miss.
Hey, that's a talent, though, to miss that free throw perfectly like that.
And finally, too, you really have to give it up for Marty Wilson. I mean, this is a guy, it's not an untalented team, and he has just been hurt. Unlike, I don't think I've ever seen a team get quite as banged up quite as often as Pepperdine.
For 2 years in a row. Cameron Edwards missed all of last year, missed part of this year, and then they've missed so many games from their starters this year. But the Waves have some good young players like we talked about, and if they can sort of get on their feet and get a couple wins here in the second half, that'll really help them going forward.
Well, that one the other night certainly kick-started them. So that's a look at the conference at the midway point of this conference season. When we come back, we're going to the studio. Look at Keeter. What a handsome man he is.
Welcome back to WCC This Week here in Los Angeles. I'm Chris McGee, and we got a great lineup of games today. But before we get to those, let's get you caught up on all the action that took place earlier this week. Let's get started with the 16th ranked team in the country, St. Mary's. St. Mary's taking on BYU, reigning WCC Player of the Week, Jock Landale in the first place Gales, hosting BYU. St. Mary's getting the big man involved early. Emmett Nahr draws multiple defenders, finds Landale for the dunk. Gales up one. Here they are down one. Nahr drives. This time finds Landale with the clever bounce pass for the easy layup. Nahr showing why he's number 2 in the country in assists as St. Mary's goes up 18-17. Jump ahead. St. Mary's up 5 now. Tyler Hawes turns it over. Cullen Neal going the other way. Sweet reverse layup, plus the foul. Amazing concentration there by Neal. Gales are up 8 after the free throw. BYU, though, they fight. They're back in it. Hawes and Yoli Childs play a little two-man game. Uncontested dunk for Childs. BYU down 8. Under a minute to go in the half. BYU down 5. Elijah Bryant goes baseline. Tough layup. It's a 3-point game at half. Let's get to the second half. It's tied at 35. Hawes. BYU's up 2. St. Mary's, you know the drill. They're up 3 now. Nahr's going to play pick and roll here with Landale. Going to find him at the rim for the easy dunk, and they're back up 5 moments later. Nahr goes around the screen. He finds Landale. He's just very good at basketball. And he buries a 3. It's his first made 3 of the season. St. Mary's back up 8. That's why they're tough. More Landale. Nahr off the pick and roll. These two are like best friends. Landale finished with 32 points and 14 rebounds, both game highs. St. Mary's would go on to win 75-62. They won 15 straight games. They're 9-0 in conference play. Coach Few and Gonzaga travel to Portland to take on the Pilots. Midway through the first half, it's Corey Kispert. Pump fake. Drive the lane. And one. Gonzaga 21-9 after the missed free throw. Later in the first half, Jonathan Williams dishes. Killian Tilly drives and slams it. Zags by 18 and rolling. Final seconds of the first half. Williams, Kispert, Three, close the half, up 46-30. Start of the second half. This time Tilly, he's dropping dimes. Williams hammers it. Zags extend their lead to 17. Midway through the second half, Kispert this time's going to dish to Silas Nelson. Three-pointer. Oh, the Zags are pouring it on. Later in the second half, Nelson's going to return the favor. He's going to say, why don't you get involved, son? Kispert. Tilly had 27. Kispert had 23 off the bench. Gonzaga tops Portland 95-79. Pacific and San Francisco. The Dons hosting the Pacific Tigers. Pacific trying to avoid dropping their sixth meeting in San Francisco. The Dons in control early in this one. Jordan Ratino gets the bounce pass. 12-0 Dons. What a start. Miles Reynolds, he drives the lane. Tigers within 7. Skipping to the second. Best name in all of college basketball, Frankie Ferrari. Throws it to Nate Renfro. USF up 10. Pacific, though, they're going to answer back. 41-49, the stuff. Namdi. More from Pacific. Reynolds gets the outlet. And one. It's a three-point game after the made free throw. Dons, though. Ratino drains the three. 69-67. San Francisco holds on to win. Winning's fun. Santa Clara traveling south to take on San Diego. They're tied for 5th place in the WCC. Andre Miller taking this one in. We'll pick this one up late in the first half. San Diego 4. Isaiah Pinheiro goes coast to coast for the bucket and the foul. Take another look as Pinheiro gets inside and finishes. 30-24 SD at half. Henry Caruso loses the handle. San Diego goes the other way. Pinheiro finishes in traffic. Santa Clara down 7. KJ Fagan, he makes the layup. Santa Clara's staying close. Moments later, Isaiah Wright for San Diego. Step back jumper. What up? Torero's up 7. Under 2 minutes to go. San Diego. They're having fun. The weather's good. The surf is solid. Juwan Gray hammers it. San Diego wins it 66-58. They're feeling it. I'm going to say it's the game of the week. Wait till you see the finish. Cameron Edwards and Pepperdine looking to end their 11-game losing streak at home. Loyola Marymount. Colby Ross throws an entry pass. Matthew Ottaway slams it home. Pepperdine trails by 3. About a minute later in the half, LMU responds. James Bateman dishes off a nice pass. Matthias Markusen slams it home. Lions lead by 7. Bateman, final seconds of the half. LMU's up 32-22. Pepperdine, they're struggling. They're just, man, can we get a win? Waves are only down 1 as they storm back. Eric Cooper Jr. Here we go. Pay attention. Under 2. Matthew Otewe off the miss. Pepperdine has it tied up at 64 apiece. Matthias Markusen tips it in. LMU is up 66-64. So check this out. 4.5 seconds left. Colby Rice misses the free throw. It gets tapped out to Trey Burhow, who makes the game-winning three-pointer. It was a 4-point possession. Pepperdine wins finally, 71-70. What a finish. Here's a look at how the WCC is shaping out so far. St. Mary's taking the top spot as they are undefeated in the conference. They're 9-0. The Zags are 1 game back. The Cougars follow with a 6-3 record. San Diego and Pacific, they're 5-4. Pepperdine, LMU sit at the bottom of the standings with 1 win apiece. Coming up on WCC this week, we'll take a look into the tragic story of Redondo Union High School basketball star Ryse Williams and how the school he was headed to, LMU, has continued to show tribute. Congratulations to St. Mary's center Jock Landale for being named the West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Player of the Week. The All-American led the Gales to an impressive road sweep, extending the team's winning streak to 14 games. This is the senior's 4th Player of the Week honor this season. Let's take a closer look at the numbers for that week. Against the Zags, the center tallied 26 points while shooting 80% from the field and grabs 12 rebounds for his 13th double-double this season. Landale averaged 29 points, 9.5 rebounds, shooting 67% from the field in the 2 wins. Great weekend for the senior. In life, we do our best to prepare for any possible roadblocks on our way to accomplishing goals, but some situations you just can't prepare for. Redondo Union High boys basketball star Ryse Williams had a bright future ahead of him. The 2017 Bay League Most Valuable Player was headed to LMU for his freshman season until a rare and aggressive form of cancer took his life one day before his graduation. Here's Sammy O'Brien with more on the story.
I named my son Ryse. I wanted him to be able to rise above his circumstances, make something of himself. And when you met with adversity, rise above it. And as a young African-American male, I knew he was going to be met with some adversity along the way. I didn't know it would be this.
He just loved people. He was a good kid in that way, in that regard. He made you feel like you were part of the group.
And the type of player he was on the court?
Oh, he was very calm. Even at 4 or 5 years old, Ryse's nickname was Cool Breeze. He's a very calm demeanor, which allowed him, he made a lot of big shots.
The Redondo Union shooting guard was even headed to nearby LMU on scholarship in the fall.
He's approachable, he was a safe person, he was empathetic, religious-based, he was reared that way, and for him, that opened his heart up. So he was really approachable for a guy who had star status.
In May 2017, just a month and a half before his high school graduation, Ryse started to feel ill.
It started off with Ryse having blood in his urine. And so he came to me and said, "Mom, there's blood in my urine." I said, "Ryse, how long has it been like that?" He said, "It's been like a few weeks." And then he was having back pain, and so we took him into the doctor to see his pediatrician.
In the blink of an eye, it was June, and still no diagnosis. Ryse was admitted to Little Company of Mary, where he spent his senior prom in his hospital bed with his girlfriend by his side and the boutonniere she surprised him with. Doctors continued to evaluate.
And the gentleman called us on the phone and he says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but this is a malignancy. Your son has cancer." And so, okay, so then he has cancer, so then a cancer specialist came in a couple of days later, and it was one of these things, wait, bad news, wait longer, worse news.
1 week later, at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, the diagnosis was in. Ryse had renal medullary carcinoma, a rare form of kidney cancer which affects predominantly young African Americans carrying the sickle cell trait.
There had only been about 129 diagnosed cases. In each case, the person died quickly because by the time it's discovered, it's ravaged your body, as it did in our case.
It had metastasized, and it was stage 4. And they told us there was nothing they can do to, there was no cure, there was nothing they can do.
He just wasn't getting better. And Tuesday, the oncologist finally has some answers for us. So we go into the room. And she sits. This is terminal disease. Doesn't respond to normal treatment. He's not gonna live.
He was using the restroom, and Ryse took his mask off and said, "I feel dizzy." And what had happened, his heart stopped. So I believe maybe 30 minutes later, it happened again.
They say it's happening again, and I just said, "Let my son go."
Yeah.
Oh, no, let my son go.
On Thursday, June 22nd, Ryse Williams' fight ended the day before his high school graduation. LMU has decided to hold Ryse's spot in the locker room, graduate him in 4 years from the university, and retire the number he would have worn in the rafters forever. How does that help?
At first, it was kind of just like an unspoken thing, but I think now it's kind of, understood within everybody that that's his space, that'll be his space for the entire time that he would have been here. So I think it's a really cool thing that's, turned into something.
The locker room is always, his locker's there, his number is going to be there forever. And I like that he's going to have his jersey and everything hung up. And actually, I got a tattoo for him, yeah, so that he can always be remembered. And because he really just a great guy and everything, and he just took him away too soon.
Not everybody will know Ryse's story, and we relish the fact that we can say, hey, this is how you want to act, this is how you want to be. What better way to highlight his legacy?
To further his legacy, the Williams family started the Ryse Williams Charitable Foundation to promote amateur athletes, raise RMC awareness, and to remember their son.
Maybe Ryse passing away of this rare cancer when he was so strong and had so much going for him, and there was so much love, and he was a happy young man, and my son did not know he was gonna die. All he wanted to do was to get better. Tell me what I need to do. And we don't want other people to have to endure that.
Very touching story. Now let's take a look at our Saturday slate of games for the conference. Coming up right here after this, our game of the week, Toreros travel north to take on the Lions. Then the Broncos face off with the Waves at 3 p.m. and Gonzaga will be hosting the Dons, while the Tigers travel to BYU. And at 8 p.m., Portland takes on the number 6 team in the country, St. Mary's. All right, that'll do it from here. Thanks for watching, everybody. So long from our studios. Now let's send it back inside the Gersten Pavilion. Enjoy the game, everybody.
No.
Okay.
And you have a graphic? Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay.
Am I commenting on this?
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
We welcome you back to Southern California. We are in Los Angeles on the campus of Loyola Marymount University. We're at the Gersten Pavilion as the hometown LMU Lions take on the visiting San Diego Toreros. And hello again, everybody. Barry Tompkins once more with my partner Brad Holland. And Brad, we got two teams just kind of trying to right the ship here. For LMU, it's been a rocky season all along. And for the San Diego Toreros, started out great, and they've kind of been on the rocks a little bit lately.
They have, but you can see where they rank right now, Barry. I mean, both teams are fairly similar, but USD still playing strong defense, leads the conference in a lot of categories. But LMU also leads the league in steals, so they're playing a little bit D. And for USD, X factor today is Juwan Gray. He's been a key contributor off the bench. He's starting now, by the way. But two weeks ago when these teams played, he had 17 off the bench and was the key contributor in that win. And for the LMU Lions, you have the great freshman, Eli Scott. I mean, 6'5", gets a lot of work done inside, and he needs to be productive tonight if LMU is going to get a win.
Yeah, so that's kind of the story of this game, the setup for this game, if you will. It's LMU And USD winning on the road is really key in this conference. The Toreros